What's up everybody, Chris Gault here, Healthy Living with Chris Gault. Today I'm going to talk about my 1-year vegan anniversary. I made it and it was easier than I thought, so we're going to get right to it. Today's video is going to be a little bit different format than my other formats because basically I'm going to go over some FAQs, or frequently asked questions. I think most of you know what FAQs are, from my family members and friends, and also YouTube comments. Basically, these are the questions that I got the most after I went vegan. And it makes sense that the very first question is, why did you go vegan? And the reason why I went vegan, our nephew, my wife and mine nephew, told us about this movie called The Game Changers. And The Game Changers is it's produced by Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Cameron, and Jackie Chan, and it's all about how these athletes, whether they be Olympic or football players, or professional football players actually, and other athletes out there, have moved towards a plant-based diet in order to enhance their ability to do what they do on the athletic performance. It kind of makes sense to watch that because I'm all about being healthy and trying to live as long as I can and as healthy as I can as I age in life. And as you know, I'm going to be 60 years old soon, so it's very important to me that I don't start backsliding and I actually stay healthy. So that was one of the reasons why I did it. I watched that movie and I thought it was a pretty amazing movie. And so I started this thing, and I was going to do it for 30 days, check out my blood and see how my cholesterol level did. And because the coronavirus then hit, I couldn't get my blood test for about 3 or 4 months afterwards. I finally got the blood test. My cholesterol level dropped 40 points. It's in the healthy range. I'm not on any medication. My blood work is actually really, really good because I have changed on to this plant-based diet. That was the main reason why I started. But then as you start to look at things, and I did, and I started to research, I started to see other videos and other movies that are out there, and it's amazing how cruel the animal agriculture industry is. And I really didn't know that. And so because of that, I knew it was a little cruel. I didn't know it was as cruel as it was. And that goes for not just the meat products, but also dairy and eggs. It's very cruel. And so when I learned more and more about that, and also about how it helps the environment, how there's more methane gas that's put out from animal agriculture than all the cars in the world, I started to say to myself, this is something that I should do the rest of my life because it's good for my health, it's good for the environment, and it's definitely good for the animals who don't deserve to live the way we treat them or be treated the way we treat them in these animal agriculture farms. And so I decided to stay vegan, and that's why I went vegan. So basically it was information and knowledge, and I think the more that we can learn things and have knowledge, the more that we can actually make better decisions, and that's what I did. The next one is, do people judge you? And yeah, I would say a little bit they do. And I thought it was kind of surprising when I went home. So I live in California now. I went back to Maryland. I visited my family, and my mother basically said, why are you vegan? I'm not vegan and I'm healthy. And I said, well, that's great for you. That's awesome. You're healthy, but this is where I want to do. And yeah, so I do get some of that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't push anyone to be vegan. I'm not saying anyone has to go that route. If someone's interested in knowing about the diet, I'll talk to them about it. But the one thing that I really don't understand is why people will crack on you if you are going a certain direction. And so, yes, I get a little bit of that judging, but I kind of ignore it because it doesn't really bother me. And I really try to push back anything where anyone tells me anything negative about anything that I do anyway. It's really my life, and I have to live it the way I want to live it, and so I kind of push it away. But yes, the answer is, people do ask me questions and why I do it and think that I'm nuts that I'm doing it, but I'm glad that I'm doing it. The next question is, do you miss the taste of meat? And I have to say that I'm actually very surprised how much I didn't miss it. Because I was a big meat eater, and I grew up as an Italian family, which is why my mother thinks I'm nuts that I'm vegan, and because we ate meat every day. But I'm amazed at how much, because I really liked eating meat at the time, and I was eating it every day up until just basically a year ago. and I went cold turkey, and I really don't miss the taste of meat. And there are other things that are out there that kind of taste a little bit like meat, like there's some other products like Impossible Burger, which tastes a little bit like meat, and so a lot like it actually, and so I really don't miss it. I was amazed, and I think also the taste buds actually change as you go through time, because I remember this when I was in college, where I said to myself, you know, I have to stop drinking sodas, because I was drinking so many sodas a day, it was ridiculous. And I meant the sugar ones, and I don't like the diet ones either, because there's a lot of chemicals in that crap. But I just said to myself, I gotta stop drinking this stuff, it's just not good for me. I went cold turkey on that too, and for the first few months, you know, I really wanted to drink a soda, but I didn't. And after a year, I found that I really didn't miss the sodas at all. And then when I did just take a sip of one, I really didn't like it. So it's been decades since I've had a soda, and I don't miss it at all. So I think the same thing is going to happen with the meat. I don't now I really don't desire it. So I think, again, it's your taste buds do change over time, and I think that's what happened to me. The next question is, do you ever cheat? And I would say I cheat on being raw vegan all the time. So when I say raw vegan, that's food that's not cooked more than 118 degrees. And I try to do that more than anything, but I never cheat on the actual vegan diet. So I don't eat any meat or dairy or eggs or anything like that, or honey or anything like that anymore. And so I feel good about that, but I do eat some processed vegan stuff every once in a while, and I do cook some stuff, but I try my best to eat as much raw vegan as I can. Was it a hard transition? I can't even say the word. Was it a hard transition? And I would say, you know, I went cold turkey, and it really was a lot easier than I thought. And I kind of talked a little bit about this when I talked about the taste of meat, because I was a big meat eater, but I guess because I just had a certain mindset. I have a certain mindset about a lot of things that I do, and that is, I always look at the positive side of things as opposed to the negative sides. You can go into a vegan diet thinking, oh, I'm depriving myself of this, this, and this, and you're going to miss it. And it's going to be very difficult for you if you do that. But what I do, usually when I take on something, is I look at all the benefits from it and all the positives. So a lot of the positives were, I was going to start eating food that I haven't eaten ever. You know, I was adding more fruits and vegetables in, and I was cooking better, and I was making different things. I started eating tofu, which at first I really didn't like, and I'm still learning how to like tofu, but I like it a lot better now than I used to. But it's still something I think that down the road I'll like it even more. My thing is I went in with a positive attitude, saying I can do this, and I'm not going to cheat, and I'm just going to keep going forward and keep going forward. And that's what I did. And so actually it wasn't really a hard transition for me. And I would suggest if anyone ever tries to do a vegan diet, the way you want to do it is you want to make sure that you're going in with the most positive way you can do it, and with the can-do attitude. I can do it, as opposed to finding everything you can not to do it. You got to find everything you can to do it, and it'll be an easy transition if you do that. So the next question is, how do you get protein? So this is one that all vegans get, and it's kind of crazy because people think you can't get protein on a vegan diet. You just think you can't do it. But the reality is that the animals don't produce protein. The animals have protein because they're eating the plants, and they get it from the plants. So all the minerals, calcium, all the protein, all everything that an animal gets, they're getting from eating the food that they eat. Plants actually have protein in them. I do get protein from that, but tofu is also very high in protein, so I get it from there. And again, from veggies, fruits, the beans are high in protein, legumes, nuts, all that is high in protein, so I incorporated more of that in my diet. And then those vegan meats, which are processed, that I have once in a while. And especially I'll talk about the Impossible Burger and Beyond Burger. Those are two most popular ones, it seems like. And I did a video on this that shows the breakdown of the macros of this. And if you'll look at it, they both have just about the same amount of protein as beef does. You really can get your protein on a vegan diet very easily. It's really not that hard. The other thing is, I love like these Go macro bars, so full of protein, and it's all raw vegan protein, so I love that. And also there's a lot of great plant-based protein powders. The one that I like the best is this organic one, and it's also made out of, I think, mostly pea protein. So peas actually have protein in it too. And so I definitely get more protein probably than the average person gets. So just throw that out, that you can definitely get your protein on a vegan diet very, very easily. It's not hard at all. Do meat alternatives taste like meat? Well, in most cases, I would say not really. If I'm going to be all honest, I had my first tofurkey for Thanksgiving, and it doesn't really taste like a turkey. I have to admit that, but it was okay. You know, it wasn't great. And I've had other things that aren't great. Like I said, the closest thing that I think tastes like the real thing was the Impossible Burger. It actually, I think if I did it in a blind taste test, I might not even be able to pick it out, depending on the hamburger meat. If it was very good hamburger meat, I probably could pick it out. But it's the closest thing, but a lot of the things aren't exactly the same. But I will say this, and I said this earlier, taste buds change over time. You get to the point where I think, I haven't had meat in a while, and I guess the desire is starting to go away, and I have a feeling that if I bit into meat now, it wouldn't taste like it did before. I'm starting to like the taste of other things more than meat. And so again, if you do this and you're on it for a year, you're going to find that your taste buds are going to change, and something that you didn't like when you first started is going to start to taste pretty good, and things that you thought tasted really good back then aren't going to taste good anymore if you don't eat them. Just throwing that out. How do you give up cheese? I got this question actually from a friend of mine who actually was born in India, moved to the United States. We ran the same cross-country and track team. He married a Swiss bride. He now lives in Switzerland, and they have a lot of great cheese in Switzerland. And his thing is, he's basically completely a vegetarian, but he just can't give up cheese, he said. And he asked me why, you know, how do you give up cheese? And again, I think it's mindset. Mindset plays a big role in that. You just say to yourself, how important is it to eat that piece of cheese versus not getting all the crap that's in it? And you know, dairy is full of pus and blood and all sorts of weird crap that I really don't want in my body. It also has a lot of hormones and a lot of antibiotics and steroids and everything that they pump these animals full of, so they keep the animal alive. So the animal is also pretty sick because it's treated horribly. And if you ever look at some of those videos I'll talk about near the end, you'll find that these animals are treated so poorly that they're sick all the time. They got to pump them full of chemicals, and you're getting all that in the cheese. So now when I look at a glass of milk or I look at a piece of cheese, I just see pus and blood and hormones and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of it's mindset. To me, it's easy to get rid of cheese. And actually, I wasn't really eating a lot of dairy years ago because I kind of cut it out of my diet because it just didn't go well with how I digest. I really didn't miss the cheese part at all. But again, I think a lot of it is mindset, and again, your taste buds do change. Now, there are plant-based cheeses that you can either buy or you can make them yourself, and they're pretty close to the real thing. They're not 100%, I'm gonna be honest, so you can always go that direction too, and then your taste buds are gonna change, and eventually you're gonna end up liking that vegan cheese more than the regular cheese. It might take a year or two, but that's what I found in my experience. And again, just saying, when I look at cheese, real cheese, I just see, or milk, cow's milk cheese, I should say, I just see a lot of bad stuff in it, and so that's why I won't put that in my body. The next one, I really never understood this. The people have this idea that it's expensive, so they ask me, is it expensive? And I would just say, you know, it can be if you buy a lot of process-based vegan stuff, but I would say that, you know, if you don't and you just buy the vegetables, it's probably gonna pay less, because meat actually costs more than vegetables do. You know, your potatoes and beans and all that are a lot cheaper than meat, and that's because there's so much resources that have to go into actually making that pound of beef, because you think a cow eats a ton of food, and we grow a lot of food to feed that cow, and also drinks a lot of water, and there's a lot of maintenance just to create that pound of meat. It costs a lot more for meat than it does for vegetables. It's actually cheaper if you do it right. Now, if you buy a lot of the processed stuff, like a lot of the meat substitutes right now cost more than beef. So like that Impossible Burger per pound costs more than beef, especially low-grade beef, which a lot of people might get if you're comparing it to like a fast food chain. You're also getting a lot of crappy food when you're going to a fast food chain. So you can buy really low-quality meat, or you can buy high-quality meat, like organic meat, which is going to be a lot closer to what what the vegan versions of meat are. So I would say if you do it right, it won't be any more expensive. In fact, it probably be less expensive if you do it right. And you can still eat organically and actually eat less because meat does cost more typically than vegetables do. But yeah, so this question is, did you throw out all your non-vegan stuff? I didn't, I have to admit, but I didn't have a whole lot. When I looked at it, I was already washing my hair and using conditioner that was more of an organic shampoo and conditioner because my hair is so hard to grow, and as you all know, I'm working on trying to grow my hair back. So I have to use something that doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it that's going to kill the hair. So I used an organic one, and that organic shampoo and conditioner happened to be vegan. So I've been using a vegan shampoo and conditioner for years. For years, I've been using Tom's toothpaste and deodorant and soap, and all that is non-animal based. They don't test it on animals or anything like that. And so a lot of the stuff that I use anyway was also vegan. Now, I do have a pair of leather shoes that I'll probably pull out once or twice a year at the most, that I didn't throw away because I just bought them a couple of years ago before I went vegan. And I don't work in an office anymore, and at my age I'm not really going to that many weddings. Unfortunately, I'm going to a few more funerals than I would like. I do have the shoes for that purpose, but in most cases all my new stuff that I buy is all non-vegan. I also have a leather belt, so if I have to get dressed up, I do. But again, that's like twice a year when I get dressed up to do something like that. Otherwise, I'm just dressed up in athletic gear, as you typically will see me in, and none of this stuff has animal products to it. So I didn't throw out anything that had animal products in it, but I didn't have a whole lot that did, and I don't purchase anything more. So I won't purchase leather. It's like another example is I had a leather couch back in my house in Maryland, and when we moved, we couldn't move all that furniture 3,000 miles. It would have cost more than the furniture. So when we bought new furniture, and this is even before I went vegan, we bought like a fabric couch as opposed to a leather couch. And now we won't buy leather, so we're pretty vegan in the house as well. Okay, so the next question is, how do you make sure you get enough vitamins and minerals? And so one of the things I do is I just eat a lot of raw vegan, and because of that I can get a lot of vitamins and minerals in just by doing that. And they're not cooked, so that way I'm getting the full benefit of the minerals and vitamins, and I'm not cooking them out. So that's really a good thing. I also do take a vitamin pill every day, and that has most of the vitamins I need, including B12 in it and iron. So I make sure I get that because I know a lot of people worry about vegans, being deficient in B12 and iron. And it's interesting though, a lot of people who eat animals are going to have problems with B12 too, because B12 actually doesn't grow in the animal, and the animal doesn't produce it. It's actually a microorganism that's lives in the ground, and the way we used to get it was we would pull vegetables out of the ground and we wouldn't clean them up as much as we do now, and we would eat the vegetables and we get the B12 in that way. And that's how the animals get it, is they're eating grass or whatever, and the B12 is in that, and that's how they're getting the B12. So there's also some things that are fortified with it. But the reason why I take the vitamin pill, and I take that multivitamin pill and one vitamin C pill every day, and I do it before basically an insurance policy. So that way, if I don't happen to get all the vitamins that I want to get from all my food that I eat, then I have the vitamin there that's going to be like an insurance policy to make sure I get them. And so I don't have any deficiency in any vitamins, and I've been on the vegan diet for a year. You could definitely get all your vitamins and minerals in being on the vegan diet, and the vitamin pill I take is a vegan pill, and it's also organic. So just throw it out, you can do it healthy too. All right, so my last question is, what are some good movies, videos to watch to help you on your journey if you want to become vegan, or at least try it? And I would say Game Changers is the one that I watched first, and that was about health. Also, movies like What the Health, Forks Over Knives, Cowspiracy, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, all were really good videos and movies that actually helped me become, on the plant-based side, of become basically doing it for health. There's also a little bit of that talks about the environment and how it's good for the environment. So I learned a little bit more about the environment as well from that. There's also two movies out there that are a little hard. They're hard to watch. I mean, I have to admit they're hard to watch. I didn't even watch the whole things because they're just so tough to watch. and you know, if you have the guts, you can watch them. But if you watch the movie Earthlings and a movie called Dominion, then you probably won't. You probably are going to go vegan. You probably won't eat animal products again. So I'm just going to give you that heads up, because it shows you how cruel the animal industry is and the harm that it does. Watch those two movies, and I dare you to not be vegan if you watch those two movies. The other thing is, there are so many really good vegan YouTubers out there, and I got a lot of information from just going up on YouTube and listening to them, like Earthling Ed is one, and Pick Up Limes, and there's just so many. Happy Healthy Vegan, and there's just so many out there that I can't remember them all. Go on YouTube, just type in vegan, and you're going to get a lot of great content out there that's going to help you on this journey if you tend to want to go there. So, and that's basically all I have. Those are the questions. And so I just want to ask what you thought of the video, and if you think that you're going to go vegan, or if you're vegan, do you have any other ideas or questions that you got asked that you want to answer too? Put them all in the comments below, because I love to read that kind of stuff. And the only thing I ask is that you respect other people on this, and don't bash anybody for their lifestyle. We should not be doing that. Everyone has the right to live the way they want to live. What my point is I like to educate people and have them make the decision, and that's what we should all be about. So pop in your comments, be respectful though, because we don't want to have anything bad. And also, if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That way YouTube knows to push this video out to others that can benefit from it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell, so that way you'll be notified every time I put out a healthy living video. And currently I put them out every Thursday and every Sunday, so that's 2 a week. They're completely free, and they're on all tips on different things on being healthy. And if you know anybody at all that can benefit from this video and the channel, make sure you share this channel and video with them so they can join in on all the fun. And to continue your trip, your healthy living trip, 2 videos are going to pop up at any moment. You can click on any of those videos and you can continue that journey. And I'll see you all soon, everybody.